Do you prefer more sleep or more daylight?
Ooh, that's a really good question.
As
I
we
would
are on the weekend of daylight savings.
I would say I prefer it to be light out on a personal level,
Mm-hmm.
just because I feel like that's good for your mentals.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, the fact that I got to wake up at 4 in the morning and it's like you go to bed just when the sun goes down, it's not a great feeling. So it's
Yeah.
it's a it's a double edged question for me. I guess I'm split down the middle. That's boring.
No, I mean it's tough. I always love more sleep. There's nothing better than when you get adjusted to the fall forward and or you're not adjusted yet. You actually you're waking up and you think like it's time to get up, and then you look at your alarm clock or your phone and you see that the nope, we still got a 1 hour left. You're like, oh yeah, it's time to nestle a little bit. But then for me, when I get off of work, like yeah, that's me nestling under the covers, baby. Yeah, but if
Ew.
for what? What's wrong with that? What's that? Ew. For me, like when my show's done at 6 o'clock and it's pitch black outside, I'm like, this sucks. The day
Yeah.
is gone.
Yeah. No, I can understand that. But we also kind of get over the sleep thing after a couple of days,
You
right?
do. Yeah, so I guess once you get adjusted to the sleep, it's really the sunlight. The sunlight sucks.
Right.
You feel like Mr. Burns took the sun.
Quick story, and also shout out to the NFL. Simpsons. We didn't really talk about that.
I mean, are you
The
gonna watch?
A little bit of it. The animated football is hard to watch, but at the same
Is it
time, like
on? Is it on Disney Plus or whatever?
ESPN Plus too. But yeah,
Okay.
yeah, they're having the Simpsons alt cast, which
Well, thanks to Ernie One, I have ESPN Plus now.
nice.
Yeah.
Oh my god, you got ESPN Plus from one of the people who listen to this
Hey
podcast.
man, I was just doing the podcast. I was doing my thing. I was like, I kind of want to watch the Chargers Cardinals game. And then Ernie hit me up. He's like, I got you. I was like, thank you, Ernie. I appreciate
Oh
it.
my gosh, you jerk. Just pay for it yourself. Um,
Eh.
but did I
Ernie, I'll buy you a drink tomorrow when you come through for the JYOM meetup, which we'll get into a little more details later.
this isn't a story that has to do with the hour going backwards, but instead going ahead. It's the trippiest thing. Have you ever been awake while the time moves forward, jumps ahead an hour?
I'm sure I have, but I've never
Well,
stared at the clock while that's happening.
one time, and it was in college. I was it was at a friend Danny's house, and it was pretty late into the night. It was after we went to the bars, and it was 1 a.m. and we're just hanging out. And I lived right down the street, so I would just walk home. And I swear it was like 1 or 1:15 when I started walking home. And then in the middle of me walking, I look at my phone and it's 3:15.
Yep.
And I thought, or no, rather it's 2:15.
Yeah, you
And
lost an hour.
I thought, what the hell happened? Did I drink that much? Did I just lose track of time and think I was leaving at 1, but really it's 2? And I was very confused.
Yeah, you were in
For
some kind of hot tub time machine or some vortex that took you back in time.
some kind of are you allowed to use a reference if you've never seen the movie? You haven't seen Hot Tub Time Machine, have you?
I just listen. I never have, but
Oh.
I've seen the trailer enough where Craig Robinson just looks into the camera and says, "Look, it looks like we're in some kind of hot tub time machine." That's my go-to thing whenever I say time machines. I just love that the movie is called Hot Tub Time Machine.
You know what? It's our 273rd episode. I'm pretty sure I've asked this question before after you said that exact same thing.
Yes, and I'm pretty sure through the 273 episodes, I've asked you, do you prefer more sleep or daylight? But hey, it is what it is.
Probably once a year. Yeah, we've been
Yeah.
doing this thing for like 3 years now.
Well, honestly, like it always signals to me, like when you have the fall forward, that means we're really going into Thanksgiving time and Christmas. That's that is post Halloween. For when we lose sleep in the spring, I would say that's the signal of NFL free agency for me. So that's how I remember.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good call.
Yeah. Just your opinion, man. Stephen Langford, Derek Papa. Speaking of free agency, not really free agency, but the trade deadline's coming up. So I'll give you, Stephen and I will talk about what could be on the horizon for Tuesday. Big day in America, the NFL trade deadline. And we'll go through our picks. We'll go through which teams are still alive or which teams we think are dead in the water. But let's start with Thursday night. Actually, before we do anything, we got a few people of the in the chat right now, the Opiners, and we'll bring it up throughout the show today. Come on through tomorrow. We're going to be at, I've been saying it wrong, Massey's at Walnut Creek. We're going to be there. I'll be there at 10. Steven, come through whenever you can. And I'll probably get there early because I guess I'm, the BART walk over from Pleasant Hill is a little bit of a jaunt, maybe like 20 minutes, but I'll be there. So come on through. Bloody Marys will be flowing. We'll be drinking, watching football. Probably not too packed with the Niners being on a bye. So I'll have a good time. And I'm hearing that maybe John Dickinson may make an appearance.
Oh, you're hearing the streets telling you that?
Streets are telling me, not JD himself, but the streets. Streets be talking.
Okay. Yeah.
JD rules the streets.
Only the streets would know of the whereabouts of John Dickinson at all.
Exactly. He's in them streets. Them streets. But yeah, guys, come on through. Everybody's invited. It'll be a good old time to see the faces to the name. You
want to know a little fun fact about JD and Walnut Creek? I just interrupted you, but it popped into my head.
By all means, go ahead.
When we last met up at Mr. Lucky's.
Right.
When we last did, I ended up giving JD a ride home, or I think Jesse did, and or with both of us in the car, obviously.
Yeah.
And Jesse drove, but we dropped him off at the apartment. It was one of the apartments that we looked at when we first were moving to Walnut Creek.
Oh,
and I don't.
You could have been neighbors.
Yeah, we could have been. I don't remember why we didn't choose it. It's actually a really nice apartment complex. I think.
You know what would have been hilarious is if you were doing this podcast one night, and like let's say you went to that apartment complex. You're doing the podcast one night, and you've had some characters in your apartment complex that have been loud. So let's say like one night you're like doing the podcast with me, and you're like, God, someone's just being so goddamn annoying, just talking about the Warriors and how much he hates Kuminga. And then you're like, hey, I got to say something. And then meanwhile, the same person's like, yeah, someone's just, being loud and obnoxious on their podcast. And you come downstairs, hey, and it turns out it's you and JD.
That would have been beautiful. That would have been beautiful. Like we would have bonded in our let's say if I moved in 2 years ago, we would have bonded in yelling about how much of a fraud Gabe Kapler is.
Yes, that would have been nice. And then every time you see JD in the apartment complex, you'd be like, JD, what's up, man? He'd be like, Steven, good to be with you, my man.
Good to be with you.
This go-to line. So yeah, everybody, come on through for a good old Just Your Opinion Man meetup tomorrow. Everyone's invited. I hope to see everybody. 31, 32, AJ Cruz, even that son of a bitch Tacky, Otis Bird. Everybody, come on through. Even Skills, if he can.
Oh, for sure, Skills.
Yes,
for sure, Skills. Mainly because I DM'd him yesterday, or he DM'd me rather, and I said, no, you're coming. Come along.
There you go.
Yes, Skills better be there.
There you go. Sometimes he has weird messages where I don't know what to reply to them, but hey, I want to meet the man. All right, let's talk about Thursday night. I picked the Jets to win, and I wasn't comfortable at all because I just watching that first half, I was like, God, this team sucks. They just can't move the ball whatsoever, and I don't know what I mean. Yeah, it makes sense for Devontae to go there, but I don't really know what is the benefit of this because it looks like Aaron cannot move at all in the pocket with this offensive line, and himself, he just doesn't look good. And
5 punts and a fumble, not great first half.
And also, Malachi Corley, my man, Jesus. I believe was it his first touch ever in the NFL?
Yes.
God damn, because he was an actor for a while. He actually was wearing number 17 and gave it to Devontae. And I thought you couldn't change your number during the season, but I guess the NFL let that go. I guess because he never actually hit the field for the Jets, so I guess that was a loophole. But yeah,
you gotta. I mean, at this point, you gotta just keep that ball like you're Pedro Serrano in Major League, keeping his bat after he hit a home run. You just got to keep that ball in the end zone and just hold on to it for as long as possible. Just do not let go.
Yeah, that was a bad moment for old Malachi Corley, who had a lot of praise coming out of college. Some said he was going to be like the next Deebo Samuel, and he gets a touchdown, and he does the Deshaun Jackson or whoever else you want to go through the years. I'm trying to think of other.
Jackson's got to be the most popular.
Yeah, definitely.
That's the standard.
Because he did it twice. Did it twice. He did
Right.
it in a college game, and he did it while he was with the Eagles. And I want to say it was his first ever touchdown that was called back where he flipped the ball before
Right.
he scored. So guys, just hang on to the ball. Like, what the hell are you doing? But yeah, on the flip side of how bad the Jets looked, the Texans without Stephon Diggs. I don't know what they're going to do offensively. They could run the ball very effectively with Joe Mixon, but it's not just the Stephon Diggs injury. Their guard, Kenyon Green, is out for the season. And man, CJ Stroud was getting blasted up the middle.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, I think the whole season their protection has been kind of flaky. I remember in the Bears game, CJ Stroud was getting knocked on his ass for a lot of that game. And I would say CJ Stroud has not played particularly well this season. He's been all right. They're 6-3 now, but he's kind of having a sophomore slump. He looks good at times, and then he throws for 85 yards against the Green Bay Packers.
Right.
So kind of not the best season for the Texans as far as their offensive playmakers. Defensively, they've been pretty solid, but they may have some trouble with the injuries kind of piling up there. But as far as the Jets in the second half, I mean, Garrett Wilson, the 2 touchdown grabs he had, the one over the middle, he caught one-handed, was great. The one he leaped up in the air like Michael Jordan and caught it, kind of like Odell Beckham, was an amazing catch. Why is that a touchdown and the George Pickens touchdown on Monday night not one?
Them's the rules, man.
I guess, but like, so I guess one shin equals 2 feet. I was not aware of that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a touchdown. But I mean, like, for good measure, he got the foot down, got the shin down, and then he got his other foot back in, I believe, before the shin went out of bounds. But who's to say? Anyway, amazing catch. And then Devontae gets concussed, but comes right back in and scores a touchdown. Jets win the game. They're 3-6. And things look a little bit different. I'm not going to say they're definitely going to make the playoffs, but I will say the Packers and the Rams were both 3-6 a year ago, and they made the playoffs.
Right. And if they can build on that second half, then maybe. I don't trust the Jets quite yet, though. I just,
that's fair.
It felt like that first half that we saw was, I'm not going to say that's the norm for them, because they're not just going to punt, fumble, punt, but they kind of showed what they have potential to be in the second half. I don't know if they could do that consistently, though.
Yeah, no.
And they were able to run the ball a little bit.
A little bit.
Not huge runs, but just like these little, just 4 or 5 yarders that are just positive plays, not getting stuffed. I thought that made a difference too.
Yeah, but you're not seeing a lot of explosiveness from Breece Hall like you did a year ago.
Yeah, not like
so that's just basically the offensive line not blocking for him. But yeah, Aaron Rodgers gets the win. He was in better spirits post game. I will say I am getting tired of him. I don't know if it's just him, just the reactionary way of just playing the game. He did this with the Packers too, but every single negative thing is him just going, and sometimes I wonder if it's him mad at himself, but it plays off as him being pissed off. Like, everybody else doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. Like, there was one moment in the game early on where Devontae Adams was blocking and Rodgers threw to him. And, it's the same offense. I mean, it's Nathaniel Hackett's offense, I believe, still, but Todd Downing's running the actual game. And Devontae Adams, but he just got there. So he thought he was blocking on that play. Rodgers threw him a pass, and then Rodgers looks to Devontae and looks like, "What the fuck you doing? Come on, go out for the pass." Quarterbacks do that. It's the heat of the game sometimes, but like, I find myself just being like, dude, it can't all just be everybody else. Sometimes it is you that's fucking up, and he acknowledged that, but it's kind of annoying.
It's not the body language on the field, though. He has been kind of calling out his players while he's making $1 million per hit on Pat McAfee show. Like, I don't know. I don't know what that does for team morale there, but he has been a little more smug, I'd say, this season. Than in years past. Although we've kind of seen it before from Rodgers before, right? It's like the idea that it's always the wide receiver's fault for running the wrong route. It's not me who made the mistake, it's you. Yeah, Rodgers is the classic case of that. But if they do turn this season around, that could be interesting. Maybe that second half is what they needed, because Aaron Rodgers did look like Aaron Rodgers in that second half.
He did. And if you look at their schedule, I mean, I don't know I think the Arizona Cardinals are a good football team, but can't say 100%. So they play
They
them next.
got a great offense, but their defense sucks. So
Yes.
you take the over.
And they have a 10-day bye basically coming up against them. So they got them, they got the Colts. They could even things out here. I would not be the least bit surprised. But let's talk about that as we look at some teams that are 2 wins or 3 wins, and we'll see if we're buying them going forward or we think they're done. And a little segment I like to call Say Akubo or Still Time to Go. Do you know what Say Akubo means, Stephen?
No.
It means it's over. It's Spanish for it's over. The only reason I'm incorporating this is because I've been listening to a lot of Beat Nuts, and there's a song called Say Akubo with Method Man.
Oh, well done.
Yeah, I thought so. Say
Learn a little
Akubo.
something.
Yeah, there you go. We're bilingual on this podcast. All right, so I'm going to say some teams, and you tell me, Stephen, if it's Say Akubo or Still Time to Go, meaning it's over or they still can be alive in this thing of the NFL. All right, let's go with the Cleveland Browns. They switched to Jameis Winston. Morale's a little bit better, but there's talk about them trading away some pieces. Their linebacker, Joseph Koromora, or how do you say his name? JKO?
Okusu Koromoa? Is that
Nicely-
it? Jeremiah
done.
Okusu Koromoa? I wanted the
go.
Raiders to get him when he was coming out of the draft. Owusu Koromoa.
Well, he's been placed on IR, so he was talking about maybe in trade stuff, but they won't trade him now.
I think that'd be crazy, to be honest. He's the engine, you know? Like Myles Garrett's the hammer, but yeah. Urusu Koromoa flies all over the field at middle linebacker or outside linebacker.
But finish that analogy. So if Myles Garrett's the hammer, then what's he?
The chainsaw.
Okay. All right, Cleveland Browns. They had a big win last week against the Baltimore Ravens. Jameis Winston reciting Eminem. Things seem a little bit better, but they only have 2 wins in a very competitive AFC North. Is it Say Akubo for the Browns, or is there still time to go?
I think there's still time to go because you're really going to start just trading away your pieces, selling and rebuilding? Like, no, you got an okay team, but I don't know how much to trust Jameis. But with a win and kind of how much they could climb in the standings, I think it's still time to go for them.
I would agree. I think their schedule actually gets a little bit better. They play the Chargers. Chargers coming to the East Coast. That's a game that they could win. We'll see later when I pick that game. But look at their schedule coming up. They play the Chargers. They go to New Orleans. They play the Steelers, always competitive on a Thursday night too, a divisional matchup. They go to Denver, a little bit better. As far as the Broncos, they're playing better football, but they could win that game. Again, against the Steelers, then things get a little harder. Chiefs, Bengals, Dolphins, Ravens. But I think they could get some wins here. So I'm going to say the same thing too, Stephen. I think there's still time to go for the Cleveland Browns. And I think that no one will say it because, actually want to talk to you about this. No one's going to say, their teammates are going to say like, oh, we're happy that Deshaun Watson's gone. But I think that maybe they feel like they have better quarterback play. What did you make of everyone booing Deshaun Watson when he tore his Achilles?
Well, you never want to root for an injury.
Yeah. Yes, but
if there's an injury to that guy who's going to be making $200 million guaranteed fully, and he has been accused by 20. What's the count up to now? Like 27.
A lot. Way too many. Way too many.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't take issue with it as much as a lot of other injuries, if I'm honest.
Here's what I said with Alon. This is the most obvious statement ever. I can't condone anything that Deshaun Watson's been accused of. But it's not like the Cleveland Browns fans were booing or rooting for Deshaun Watson to get hurt because they have some, sense of morality. It's because he was playing poorly as a quarterback.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. As far as Jameis and Myles Garrett coming out and saying what they said about him being a team leader and, a good character, you can roll your eyes at that. But then also you get what are they supposed to say? Now they went a little overboard probably, but at the end of the day, you got to be a teammate, no matter how much weird shit this guy's doing behind the scenes. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. It it's different in their eyes, you
of
know.
course it is, because you want to have your guys back, but they're thinking about it from just what they see in the facility, and I'm sure he is a hard worker. But yeah, the one that made me laugh was Miles Garrett being like he's never had a problem in college or the pros, and this is like, yeah, obviously, whatever. I don't know. I like obviously like come on, like the guy's been accused of all that shit, but like I don't know. I don't like rooting for injuries either.
Man, you went straight from is this team good to go or underlay, and now it's like
Say Akapo.
and then and then now you're moving on to hey, what do you think of the Browns fans booing Deshaun Watson?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I figured you have an opinion about that, and you weren't around when that one's going down.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't have. I shouldn't share my opinions on Deshaun Watson in a public forum. It's probably not, fair to him.
Nah, it depends. All right, let's move on then. The Miami Dolphins. They are 2-5, and they, were looked at as a playoff team, but obviously the Tua injury kind of threw a wrench in their QB plans, and Skylar Thompson, and who else? Snoop Huntley, all the Tim Boyle, just a lot of. It was basically looking like the Jets from a year ago with their quarterback situation. But now they got Tua back, but the defense at times plays well, but also looks bad like last week against the Arizona Cardinals. So right now with 2-5, what would you say about the Dolphins? Say Akabo or still time to go?
Say Akabo, I'd say. They have a much harder schedule moving forward. And I'm not saying you got to sell all of your star players, but I do think if you can maybe find like an extra third or fourth round pick, I don't know for who. I haven't really seen any Dolphins players as trade candidates as of late. So I don't know. They probably will just stand pat at the deadline, but I think it's Say Akabo for the Dolphins.
As far as this season, yeah, it looks like they could get a few wins here or there, but I'm not counting them to be a playoff team because I think that their schedule gets really, really hard.
Right.
As we get into November and December, as they always kind of piss down their leg as we get later into the season. And yeah, they've locked up, Tua and Jalen Ramsey and Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. And they may need to start making some moves next offseason to kind of help their salary cap situation. So I don't think they can trade away, well, they could trade away guys if they want to, but I don't think that's going to be their style. I think they're going to try to win. And then next, I mean, they need as many draft pieces as they can because they're not going to be able to get a lot of free agents next offseason. So I would say, yeah, say Akabo for this season, but they'll try to run it back with all the guys that they have under contract next year.
There is one player who fits the billing of a guy who is a trade candidate, though. Emmanuel Ogbah. He has 1 year left in his contract. He's an unrestricted free agent after this year.
Yeah.
Everyone's looking for veteran help on the edge. I wouldn't be surprised if the Niners make a move at him. And I don't know, maybe they have that relationship with Mike McDaniel. AFC going to the NFC wouldn't hurt the Dolphins. It would only help the 49ers in the pass rush. I know the Niners got, some interior line that they gotta figure out, but who really knows about these middle of the pack defensive tackles that are going to get traded? I don't.
Yeah. And not to mention Bradley Chubb will come back, I think, in the next couple weeks here, possibly. Jalen Phillips out for the year again with an Achilles. So they're looking for pass rushers to come back in time. But it may just be that they have to take like a sabbatical this season with how much injuries they've faced.
Yep.
Then we go to the New Orleans Saints, who looked hot to start the season, 2-0. They're scoring 40 points in the first 2 games, and they've lost 6 straight since that. And a lot to deal with there was Derek Carr being hurt, Spencer Rattler not doing much at quarterback, Jake Haener not doing much either. But, they've had, they played the Cowboys, they played the Panthers, and they played harder teams since then. And you have to believe that Dennis Allen's going to be on the hot seat as the season progresses if things don't turn around. So for the New Orleans Saints, would you say it's Akabo or still time to go?
This is a tough one. I want to say Akabo because Derek Carr's favorite target, Rashid Shaheed, is currently on IR. He's
Forgot
out
about
for a
that.
little bit.
Out for the season, actually.
Yeah, and that was his guy, right? I
Yep.
mean, Rashid Shaheed was his dude. But what is the NFC looking like? I'm staring at the AFC this whole time. The NFC, yeah, 2-6. I don't think they compete with those teams that are kind of fighting for those 6th, 7th, and 8th spots. So yeah, I'd say it's Sayakabo for them. And I can't believe I saw this the other day, but shout out to Tim Kawakami. It was trade pieces that the 49ers should go after. Think about potentially getting Chase Young back and trading.
Ooh, no.
That was one of his
Tim.
one of his samples there. And then I thought to myself, you know what? The 49ers might as well stand pat if they're going to make that move. But
No.
it wouldn't cost anyone anything. He is a free agent. So
I can't
Chase
see
Young
doing
is
that
a
again.
likely candidate, I think, to get traded.
We could see that, although I don't know how high people are going to be on him after. Did you see what Garrett Bowles did to him a couple weeks ago where he just pancaked the hell out of him?
Yeah.
He's not the same player. I mean, if I were the Saints, I would be trading away guys, and I'm completely surprised that they signed Alvin Kamara to a new contract. I thought they would move off from him because he makes so much money.
Yeah.
And they're in salary cap hell. They've been in salary cap hell for years now. So yeah, I'm surprised that they signed him. But yeah, I think it's Sayakabo for the Saints.
Who would have thought with that defensive line from 2020 with Chase Young on the edge, Jonathan Allen, and who was the other guy on the interior on that? Because it was Montez Sweat on the outside, but who was in the interior on that defensive
Jonathan
line?
Allen and Daron Payne.
Daron Payne, that's it. Who would have thought that Chase Young would be the guy that doesn't pan out of that group?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, he's looked like a shell of himself since his rookie year.
Wild, isn't it?
It is wild. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't see the Saints turning it around. I don't see them trading guys either. Even though they probably should, like Marshawn Lattimore, maybe, or even their longtime veteran Cam Jordan, maybe move him at the deadline. So yeah, we'll see what happens with the Saints, but I would be surprised if they turn things around. And I am anticipating that they move on from Dennis Allen when the season ends. The New York Giants, they have 2 wins as well.
Okay, hang on. You don't even need to
Sayakabo.
Sayakabo.
Yeah. Yep. I see them trading away a lot of guys, maybe Darius Slayton, Azeez Ojulari. They basically, from the fucking Hard Knock show, it sounds like they have no faith in Daniel Jones. They're bringing back Brian Daboll and Joe Shane, which I find surprising. But yeah, Sayakabo on the Giants.
It is Sayako. Oh,
I wrote the Raiders here, but I think you and I are in agreement on that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So well, damn it! I muted to fucking clear my throat and didn't work. Well, okay, but it is Sayakabo, obviously, for them. But who do you think would be the next guy to go? Because look, for the Raiders, who do you think's the next guy to go to a different team? Because I know they like him a lot, but you might as well start retooling with the offense. I think Jacoby Myers could get you some good value with the way that he's playing, and I think that he could help out any playoff contending team, and I think they could get some good value for him.
Hold on to that thought real quick, Steven. We'll bring that up when we go to the trade deadline stuff because that's not a bad idea. Okay. But lastly, one more team, Cincinnati Bengals. They're 3-5. I think there's plenty of time. I think that T. Higgins being out doesn't help, and I even wonder sometimes he has a legitimate injury. But if they lose this weekend and they're 3-6, will they be like, okay, it's going to be an uphill battle to. I mean, whatever we do this season, if we just make the playoffs, cool, but we have Super Bowl aspirations every year with this quarterback. Do we move T. Higgins? Because we're going to lose him in the offseason next year. So do we move him now and go forward with the young guys we have plus Jamar Chase? It sounds like I read Diana Rossini's article this morning. She thinks that they're going to go after some guys to help them. I don't think it's over for the Bengals, but it's not looking like the season that we expected them to have either.
No, but I would stick with it just because you have a bunch of stars like Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. I know the defense hasn't been as good, but I just don't think you could pass up on a season. It's funny how I guess the Raiders are going to either kill or keep a season alive for the 2021 Super Bowl contenders, because they're a big reason why the Rams are back in contention now. They kind of just got them started on this little win streak here when the Rams weren't healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other 2021 Super Bowl team in the Bengals, well, if they lose to the Raiders, yeah, that pretty much kills your season. But if they beat the Raiders, oh, now we're 4-5. Woo, we're looking a little bit better here. Like, it's funny how the Raiders are that team.
Yep. Whenever you're struggling, just play the Raiders. Okay. Speaking of the Raiders, let's get to the NFL trade deadline, which is going down this Tuesday. It ends at 1:00 our time. So you brought up Jakobi Meyers, Stephen, and there has been basically an arms race to get wide receivers before the trade deadline ends.
Actually, let me bring something up, Derek, real quick.
Go ahead.
Can we admit that the big names that could potentially be traded have already been traded?
Yes.
Like, it's Devontae Adams, Deontay Johnson, and Josh Uche. Like, that's how you pronounce his name, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Like, those guys are gone.
I said Unk before.
Unk? I like that better. What is he, Shannon Sharp? Unk?
Yeah.
I like that better. But those guys are gone now, right? So what's kind of the next step here? Who's the next big target?
Okay. That's what I want to get into with the trade deadline. The NFL trade deadline, for most of our lives, I would say, really did not see a lot of movement. Like, throughout history, the biggest deals have been like Eric Dickerson going to the Colts, or Herschel Walker and the bounty of picks that the Cowboys got to start their dynasty. But for the most part, when I think of the NFL trade deadline, I think of terrible moves. Like, it seemed good at the time, but you remember this well, Stephen. Carson Palmer getting moved for 2 first-round picks, and I thought, yes, the season's alive. Okay, Jason Campbell broke his collarbone. We're going to be alive here. Carson Palmer goes to the Raiders, and it looked good for a little while, but that defense was so atrocious, and they fired Hugh, and Carson didn't want to be there. And then there's some Hugh Jackson revisionist history has done interviews where he's like, I didn't want Carson. Mark Davis wanted Carson. It's like, I'm pretty sure you wanted Carson. But so I think it's stuff like that. And then in recent years, it's been like, okay, let's go big. Von Miller goes to the Rams and helps the Rams get to a Super Bowl. Christian McCaffrey at the trade deadline was huge. Last year, there was a lot of movement with Chase Young, or who else? Kevin Byard for the Eagles, or the year before that, Robert Quinn. Bradley Chubb gets moved. So it has picked up, but I'm with you. I think that the big name guys have already been moved. So I think it's going to be like little moves here or there. But then again, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if like one that came out of left field and you're like, whoa, I did not expect that to happen at all. Steven? I believe Steven's frozen. All right. Hopefully we get Steven back. He brought up Jakobi.
Can you see me?
I see you. Oh, actually, yeah, I can hear you, but now you're coming in all glitchy. But you're there.
It just cut out on me.
Yeah.
Hello. Should I exit out?
No, you're good. You're good. We see you and hear you.
Says the connection is unstable.
We hear you.
What do you think about this? All right. Said Diana Orsini's interested in trading for some guys. Okay. I know this is AFC within AFC, and this might be sports radio trade hypothetical bullshit.
Okay.
Travis Etienne to the Bengals
for
a mid-round pick. A middle of the draft pick, a mid-round draft pick.
No, I don't think that's a bad move at all. If I was the Jaguars, though, I would not move Travis Etienne because I think you could have a really good backfield in the future. And what really would entice a guy like Ben Johnson that has Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery is a 2 running back set like those that team has. So while that would benefit the Bengals, I would also, if you're going to fire Doug Peterson, you're probably going to fire Trent Baalke as well. But I would keep as many pieces as possible to keep that team attractive for coaches in the offseason.
Interesting. I think ETN to the Bungles, and that's primarily because I had them making the Super Bowl. So I need this team to make a Super Bowl run here in the second half. And
Alrighty.
I think Travis Etienne's the guy.
That could help them a lot, and that would make sense. But if I was the Jaguars, I wouldn't do that. And
Mm,
but if I was the Jaguars, I would have traded Christian Kirk, but he broke his collarbone and is out for the season now, so that's not happening.
mm.
Jacoby Myers, though, is interesting. I okay. Do you think it's beneficial for Jacoby Myers for free agency purposes to go to a different team, a contending team, and learn the offense all over again? Be basically a number 2 or number 3 for a contending team, or be a number 1 for the Raiders. Prove that he can be a number 1 or not, and try to cash in on potentially a big payday come next March.
Ooh. Well, I don't think personally, I don't think that he is. I don't think it would benefit him just to stay on the Raiders and try to get that big money. Ultimately, if you're playing in the postseason, I think that's going to be the thing that keeps you in the league because Jacoby Myers is never going to be that wide receiver that gets a massive payday. You know,
Right.
he might get like a God. Who was that player the Raiders signed from the Chargers a few years back? It was John Gruden.
Yeah.
Like a 3-year deal. I can't remember who it was.
Tyrell Williams.
Tyrell Williams. When they gave him that big, I could see that happening maybe, but the only way for Myers, I think, is to go to a team in the postseason. And I don't know if it would make sense for the Raiders in the future, like next year, to try and give him that big contract. Like they're a rebuilding team, man. And, they got some nice pieces at wide receiver. And ultimately, your number one guy right now is Brock Bowers. So as long as you could save as much money to keep him happy, because Brock Bowers is elite. And if you lose him, boy, that could be a real problem. So I would say it would benefit both the Raiders and Myers more if they were to trade him now.
And then who are their wide receivers? DJ Turner, Trey Tucker. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, you got to get
Brock Bowers.
Practice squad probably. But yeah.
Yeah. I think they consider it, but I don't think they want to trade both Davante and Jacoby Myers.
It'd be wild if they did, but it just feels like it'd be beneficial for both of them. That's all.
No, I hear you. And by the way, have we heard anything about Michael Mayer?
And he's like getting healthy again, but
well, he wasn't injured. He stepped away from the team for personal reasons.
Oh, I thought he was injured.
No,
I have no idea.
Something's going on there. So yeah, hopefully he comes back. And because I think this team, I mean, maybe this is why Luke Getsy's offense doesn't look good, but I think that's a lot of reasons. It's just more than just the tight ends. They wanted to have a 2 tight end set with those 2 guys. So yeah, that's kind of throw things off. But it's really the quarterback play mainly.
Well, if they do trade him, look, players, they're never going to tank. I hate that argument about talk to this player, talk to that player, ask them if they're going to tank the season. It's like it's not a point of the players, but whether the front office wants to do that. And I think if they trade Jacoby Myers, because like you said, what are they left with at wide receiver? Not much. That is a indicator, pretty solid indicator that they're trying to get a higher draft pick so they can go after a quarterback. I think that's what it would show.
Yeah. Yep. No, you're probably right, but I don't know if they want to. They may be bad enough where they don't need to do that. So, yeah, I think if I had to guess, I'd say Jacoby Myers is going to stay with the Raiders.
Old Hondo is saying the Steelers could be in play here for
Jacoby Myers
for a 4th round pick.
Wouldn't be surprised about that either. I do think the Steelers end up trading for a wide receiver. So this is what I see going.
You got to get Russ his weapons, man.
By the way, did Hondo ever come out with a little, bulletin board or a bullet point article on the details of Davante Adams?
No, nothing like that yet. Davante Adams was a Packer. Davante Adams was traded from the Packers. Davante Adams became a Las Vegas Raider. Davante Adams had an all-pro season. Then Derek Carr, his friend, was traded. His friend was axed from the team. Period.
Yeah. That's basically how
we need that.
That's basically how those Hondo articles read.
It's very fitting that his last name's Carpenter because he really does go step by step.
Jesus was a carpenter, Stephen.
I'm always thinking one step ahead, like a carpenter that makes stairs.
What?
It's from The Office, man.
Okay. I was thinking to Meet the Parents where how long have you been to a carpentry? Carpentry? I guess really got me into it was Jesus.
Yeah, pretty impressive that I made this considering it was just one piece of wood.
Yeah.
I love that.
This is a chapel or what you might call a hopa.
Hope.
The best part is De Niro just going, Greg's a Jew. Well, so is JC.
One of Owen Wilson's best roles, man.
Oh, fantastic.
The snarky sort of ex-boyfriend who can't get over the girl. Oh, it's perfect for Ben Stiller too.
She was a tomcat.
Maybe this is a conversation for another day, but is there anyone who's better at playing just the awkward straight man than Ben Stiller? It's hard to find Eddie. God, dude, he's so good in that role.
Whoa. He always does that. All right, this is what I see going at the trade deadline.
Would you milk my nipples, Greg?
What's up?
Would you milk my nipples, Greg?
I tell you, meet the Parents. The first one still cracks me up. The other ones, meet the Fockers and Little Fockers, not as good.
Yeah, no, it's all about.
Actually, Meet the Fockers has moments with Dustin Hoffman, but besides that, nah.
Yeah.
All right. This is what I see happening at the trade deadline. I see a few more wide receivers being moved. And for the Carolina Panthers, I mean, it didn't need to even be brought up in say Akubo or there's still time to go. They're done. They're done. I don't see Bryce Young being moved because that's just too hard to do. I think they still want to see what they have in him, and then they'll decide what they want to do in the offseason. But it makes no sense for Adam Thielen to be on this team anymore.
No.
So I'd say the Panthers move Adam Thielen to the LA Chargers for a 6th-round pick. If Deontay Johnson went for a 5th, then I got to think Adam Thielen's not going for much higher than that.
No.
Yeah.
God, how did they not make a move? They need a number 1 guy. They do. They don't need a number, I don't know, a guy who could be a solid number 3, maybe even a 4th guy.
Well, Jim Harbaugh never really values wide receivers. He's working with Quentin Johnston, who had moments at times. He's getting back from an injury. Josh Palmer, not really a lot of, wow guys. Ladd McConkey had a good performance last week, but I think they need like a veteran presence there. So I think they get Adam Thielen. Then we go to the Giants and Darius Slayton, who had a big game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I think Mike Tomlin notices and takes him. I think that Darius Slayton gets traded to the Steelers for a 5th-round pick.
Interesting. Do you think the Giants would be inclined to trade with the Lions?
For Azeez Ojulari?
No, for Darius Slayton.
For another wide receiver?
Yeah.
I think
I don't know what's going on with Jameson Williams right now.
I think, there's a lot of issues with him, but I think they actually have some depth there. Yeah. I think that, and they run the ball a lot, so I don't know if they need to get another wide receiver. What's his name? Who's the guy that was with the Broncos for a while? Is it Josh Reynolds? No, Josh Reynolds was with the Broncos. Tim Patrick. Tim Patrick's with the Lions now, and he's actually playing pretty well. And who else? They actually have Allen Robinson on the practice squad that they could call up anytime as well.
Wow.
So I think they're good wide receiver wise. Maybe they go get another guy, but what they really need is pass rush, and I'll get to that a little later. Kendrick Bourne. Rumors with the Niners. I don't think he's going to the Niners. I think that Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch they're usually pretty honest, and they probably do want to make moves, but also I think they really need to keep their draft capital because next year they're going to have to make a lot of hard decisions when it comes to who's staying, who's going once they pay Brock Purdy. So if anybody's hoping for DeForest Buckner going to the Niners, I do not see that happening at all because then they have to pay him, and he's not a free agent, by the way. He's got 2 more years left on his contract with the Colts. So I don't see them trading, trying to make everybody happy again when they trade him away to the Colts and then bring him back. If anything, they get this is not going to be a sexy thing, but if the Niners were going to get anybody, I'd say like Sebastian Joseph Day from the Titans, who was there a year ago with them at defensive tackle. But they really can't make any big moves because of what I just said. They need draft picks next year. So I don't see them trading for a wide receiver because every interview I've heard with Shanahan and John Lynch, it sounds like they really like their young guys and Ricky Pearsall and Jacob Cowing. So I think Kendrick Bourne does get moved, but he gets moved to Adam Peters, who knew him with the Niners, He goes to the Commanders to be their slot guy, and
Mm.
he gets moved for a 6th-round pick because he's coming off ACL.
That'd probably be a good move for them. I mean, you gotta give Jaden Daniels as many tools at his disposal as you possibly can. By the way, you reminded me of something. It jogged my memory with Shanahan. That was on your show that he mentioned the trick-or-treating thing, right?
Yep.
I was made sad by that.
Why?
Like, I don't know if he was joking or not.
Oh, he's not able to because his kids are all grown up now.
It's like you've missed out on that much that you forgot that they are not old enough to trick or treat anymore. Like
Yeah.
I was made sad by that, man. It's just it goes to show the life of a coach. You really got to put football before everything. What was it? What is it? Is a daughter's a freshman in high school or something?
Yeah, something like that. Which brings the question up: what age is it too old to go trick or treating anymore?
I think once you're past like the 10-year-old mark, that's when you're starting to maybe like that's when you're getting past the trick or treating age after 11.
Okay, if I may, I don't know what the trick or treating is a loose term, but I remember in high school, my freshman year, me and my buddies went out and we dressed up and we went around the neighborhood, but we weren't really trick or treating. We just walked around in our costumes and we saw other friends and met up with them. We would like knock on a door here or there to get candy, but it was kind of more of as like a joke. And I don't know if like that was too old for me to do at the time. I will say this, and it was okay. Thank you, Steven.
Yes, it was.
But I will say this: I have no shame in admitting this. That was the last time I wore this costume. Have I told the story before about how I was Randy Moss for Halloween?
No.
Yeah, when Randy Moss went to the Raiders, he had a costume that came out with him in a mask and a fro. And this was sold to everybody at Halloween stores. So my little white ass was like, cool, I'm going to wear Randy Moss's mask and an afro and walk around. And it scared the shit out of people. Some people didn't even know I was wearing a mask. And yeah, in hindsight, not the best thing to be selling to people and not a good costume.
Jesus, Derek. You have made some questionable decisions before in the past.
This thing was sold to children. What do you want me to do?
Can you imagine being Jim Harbaugh's child, though? Have you ever heard the stories of him trick-or-treating?
No, but I can only imagine. He's like, yeah, go out there and trick-or-treat and, pull it down.
No, let's say here. This is from an article from a while back. This was when he was at Michigan, and the only reason I know this is because Dan Le Batard's show picked it up, and I think just asked him about it. But he's big on trick or treating. I tried to advise. He's talking about his kids. I try to advise them to get 2 costumes to be go-getters. You could hit the neighborhood in 1 costume and better to jug and run from house to house. Then you can get more candy than anybody else. Then you come home and make a quick change into the 2nd costume and go hit those same houses again. Hustle, constant hustle. I had the standard sheet with the eyes cut out. I always wanted the mask and the cape, Spider-Man, but we never did get one of those. Spider-Man does not wear a mask. Well, he wears a mask, but he doesn't wear a cape.
That's true.
It's like that kind of reminds me of something like Trump would say, to be honest.
Spider-Man with his cape. It looks great.
I wanted a costume with a mask, with the cape. I wanted to be Spider-Man. Couldn't do it.
Psh, psh, psh. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me whatsoever with Harbaugh, because he's like, who's got better than us? Go get that candy, kids.
He's drawing X's and O's about how to get around the neighborhood.
Come on. And they come home and he's like, so what do you got? You got any Whoppers? You got any Smarties? Love Smarties, man. Like, he would probably hate the candy that everybody else, or love the candy that everybody else hates.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
that's a Tom Tolbert thing. He comes in and he'll give the candy that was left over from his house, but he'll always bring in the shit that nobody likes, but he loves, like Smarties and I don't know, just like the sweeter stuff that's not actually like candy bars, but like,
yeah, I'd say almond joy is like the least favorite of the Halloween candy staples.
Where do you come down on Twizzlers?
Well, it depends.
Okay.
I personally like Red Vines more than I like Twizzlers.
I'm a Twizzler guy, and I'm getting a lot of shit for it because I think it's good.
I like the cherry flavored ones. I don't like the bright red ones. I like the darker red
Really?
Twizzlers or Red Vines or whatever they're called.
No, my mom got me hooked on Twizzlers back in the days, and that's like probably the lamest candy I'm into. By the way, I have noticed this. Tom brought this up. I saw Dallas Braden's video of him walking around his neighborhood dressed like the Penguin. Looked really good, actually. Got the nose and everything. Kids are not going out trick or treating as much as they used to.
Yeah.
From if you lived in a neighborhood in the suburbs, apparently not many kids went out this year for whatever reason.
Makes me sad.
It does.
You gotta look at the rise of let's yell at these youths. It's got to be the rise of phones, video games. Black Ops 6 just came out, and God knows I'm actually playing that.
Damn TikTok and the Rizzler.
Jesse's in the shower right now, but we're going to the Sharks game later tonight, and when we get, I haven't played Black Ops 6 that much since I bought it, but hopefully when we get back, she'll be a little tired and falls asleep, and then I can play a little Black Ops 6.
There you go.
Just to let you know.
There you go. I mean, you could be like, Seinfeld and, try to make her fall asleep, and then you can play the video game.
Yeah, make her fall asleep?
Yeah, drug her, That was a harmless episode, right?
Yeah.
All right, going forward with these trades, I think I got two more. All right, okay, so I think the Lions will come away with a pass rusher. And the guy that's been linked to them has been Zadarius Smith. So I think they trade for Zadarius Smith, those Lions, for a 5th-round pick. But it doesn't stop there. I think they get 2 guys. I think that they would have made a move to get a pass rusher if Aiden Hutchinson had not been injured. So they have to overcompensate. So I think they trade for Zadarius Smith, and they also trade for Jadeveon Clowney. Now, both those guys have 2 years left on their deals. So it would be investing a lot in the future, but I don't think it's bad to have both of those guys. You're going to lose Marcus Davenport probably in free agency next year. So I don't think it would be bad to have a rotation of Aiden Hutchinson, Zadarius Smith, and Jadeveon Clowney in the future.
I don't really know what Clowney brings anymore.
Yeah, I know.
I get the Zadarius Smith one. Zadarius Smith, even going back to when he was a Packer. You remember the Smiths? It was,
Preston Smith and him.
Not the 80s pop group led by Morrissey. Not the Smiths, but Zadarius and Preston. They were legit. And Zadarius was a big locker room guy. So I'm a fan of whichever team wants to trade for him. I think that's like the top target right now as far as edge rushers go.
Yeah, but I think Clowney could also be rejuvenated. He did have a pretty good season last year with Baltimore.
I guess so. Yeah, I guess, but I just don't know. I don't know about him.
No, that's fair. Speaking of the Smiths, I like a few songs, but like I don't know, every song sounded the same to me a little bit. My life's a lie. My dog hates me. I wish I was dead.
That was really good.
Thank you.
Well done.
All right. And lastly, Azeez Ojulari, the pass rusher for the Giants. He's going to be a free agent in the offseason. They already have Brian Burns. They already have Kayvon Thibodeau. I think they move on from him, and they send him to the Arizona Cardinals, who need some pass rush because they can score a lot of points, but they can't stop anybody.
A lot of people want the 49ers to trade for him.
Yeah, I don't see the Niners making a lot of moves unless you think otherwise, Steven.
They normally do, but they normally would for a bigger name. I just don't like. It seems they're very confident usually in their roster.
Yeah.
But if they can build anywhere on the interior, then I think they will. But I don't think they need someone off the edge.
Yeah,
Who's the new guy? Who's the new free agent? He just like came along when I was in Italy, and then he just started getting sacks. He's this random dude who was picked up. God, I can't remember his name. He's like number 91 or 98 or something.
For the Niners?
On the Niners, yeah. It's a new guy.
Malik Collins?
No. They picked him up this year. And he like instantly got to the quarterback.
I don't remember.
I got to look it up. Hang on.
Okay. While you're doing that, let's pick some NFL games for Week 9. Oh, you got it?
Sam Okayinonu.
All right.
That guy?
He's got a few sacks?
Well, he got to the quarterback a little bit. I just think they trust him now. So I don't think they're going to make many moves at the edge.
Yeah, and they also have, Leonard Floyd needs to get going a little bit, and Yatir Gross Matos is coming off of injury pretty soon here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's a blast from the past.
Yatir Gross Matos, director of
Yetur.
Poor Things.
Yetur.
Yetur. Um,
Director of Poor Things?
I've used that joke before.
It's not a good one.
Oh, come on. I thought it was good. All right.
Yeah,
NFL.
maybe stash that somewhere else and forget about it.
Oh, come on. It's for the cinephiles and football fans.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do a little thing we call wins or wangs for week 9. Well, Steven gets the music. All right. So I'm up 3-1 from picking the Jets. And I took the points. So they're up by 2, or favored by 2. Took the under. Steven took the under as well, so he gets a point for that. And by the way, I won last week as well. I beat Alon every week that we did this.
Wow.
So next time Alon hosts, I'll make him do the hot sauce, but maybe just a little this time, because God knows that really got to him last time.
Well, he did it in a very extreme manner.
He did. It was primarily his fault. I blame him for mixing all those sauces together on just a piece of bread. All right. So let's start with probably the sexiest game of the weekend. The New England Patriots at the Tennessee Titans. Oh, yeah. And Drake May has been cleared to play. Don't know who's playing quarterback for the Tennessee Titans. It might be Will Levis. It could be Mason Rudolph. However, the Titans are 3.5-point favorites, and the over-under is 37.5.
I will take the, I'll take the Patriots to win this one.
Alrighty.
And you said 37.5 is the number.
Yes.
It's pretty low, but I'll take the under on that as well. So give me the Patriots to win. I'll take the under.
Man, I think the Titans need some wins here. So just for that reason alone, I mean, I definitely could see Drake May pulling this off. But you know what? No, I'm going with the Titans. They need some wins. So give them the win, lay the points with them, and I'll go over on that 37.5.
Nice.
Let's move on as I turn the page here to the New Orleans Saints going to Carolina, where the Saints are 7.5-point favorites. Bryce Young in the start, and the over-under is 43.5.
Lay the points with the Saints and just take the over.
I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to go under. We'll see how Bryce Young fares against that Saints defense, where they might be feasting a little bit, and I don't think they're going to have Marshawn Lattimore, but maybe Chase Young balls out before his name could be on the trade deadline. Then you got the Raiders going to the Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals 7-point favorites. Sounds like T. Higgins is out once again, and the over-under is 45.5.
Give me the Bengals to win. I'll take the Raiders to cover. I think that's a pretty big number. And give me the over.
I will take the Bengals to win. I'm going to lay the points. I think they just decimate them through the air. And I'm going to go under on that 45.5. I think it's a lot of points for the Bengals and not a lot for the Raiders. By the way, did you see Joe Burrow hates Halloween?
No.
Yeah, they asked him, do you like Halloween? He's like, no. And they're like, why not? He's like, I don't know why we celebrate things just to celebrate things. Like, why are we dressing up? There's no reason to do that. Because it's on the calendar, Joe.
Kind of a reason to do it.
Jesus, what a killjoy.
I know.
And by the way, Macaulay Culkin dressed up as him for Halloween.
Dude, watching all these wealthy people dress up is a wild experience. Like, how much?
What do you mean?
How much money do they spend on these damn costumes?
Yeah, I know. I don't dress up like anymore. But if I am, it's the cheapest option I could find. Like, it's literally just like me. I did this in the past in college. Got a rope around my waist, let the rope dangle down. I'm a horse.
Yeah, that's so lazy. But if I had a little extra money in my pocket, and was willing to spend to kind of throw away, then yeah, I would absolutely spend that much on a costume. It's crazy. Like Heidi Klum and Janelle Monáe both had the same E.T. outfit, which is wild.
I saw that. And like Myles Garrett dressing up as the Terminator and spending it looked like a good amount of money on the face and everything. Good Lord.
All right, you know what? I'm gonna throw you a curveball. Where were you at on Ryan Clark's white face Bill Belichick?
I was deeply offended. No, I give two shits. I mean,
Dude,
honestly,
that was amazing.
it was fantastic. And honestly, like when I saw that, I laughed my ass off because I thought it was hilarious.
I love how Bill's just right there too.
Yeah, he's just right there. It's like, that's pretty good. It's pretty good. That's pretty good, Ryan. But like, who doesn't love? I'm sorry, like if you get offended by that, like, come on, who doesn't love Eddie Murphy in the old SNL sketch where he's a white man walking around New York City, and they're like, and he like sees how things are different for black people, so he's picking up the newspaper and he's trying to pay for it. And the guy's like, "What are you doing?" "Well, I'm trying to pay for this newspaper here." It's just fantastic comedy. People got to realize whiteface ain't the same thing as blackface. All right, White Chicks was funny. Tropic Thunder was funny, but you got to put things in context as well.
Tropic Thunder, I think, got a pass, right? Robert Downey Jr. got a pass with that one.
Yes, because it was making fun of Hollywood for not giving black people an opportunity to play in a movie.
Correct.
Yes.
He was a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude.
Exactly, but probably couldn't do that today. All right, let's move on to the Washington Commanders taking on the New York Giants. The Giants are 4-point favorites, and the over-under is 44.5.
I don't know any way in which the Commanders lose this game. Lay the points with them, and I'll take the under.
I am going to go with the Giants here.
Oh, wow.
I think that the Commanders, right in the high of the Hail Mary, come back down to reality a little bit. I saw some good things from their defense against the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Giants. And yeah, I could, and they already played once this season, so I think that their defense schemes it up where Jaden Daniels has a little bit of a hard day. So I'm taking the Giants.
So what about the Giants' offense, though?
They kick some field goals and just went by a little bit.
Oh, okay, that's okay. All right, good pick.
I mean, they have some playmakers. I could see Malik Neighbors catching a touchdown.
Stop it.
But Malik Neighbors is good, Steven.
Who's throwing him the ball?
Daniel Jones.
Ugh.
Daniel Jones has some moments. I'm not saying he's great or anything, but he can win a game.
Actually didn't look too bad in that first half of that game.
All right. Yeah. I remember this, Steven. You laughed at me about the. Did you laugh at me about the Browns win last week? No. Walter did. And different podcasts merging. All right. Chargers go.
How dare you? How dare you mix this up then with the what's it? The producers. What is it? What's
The
it called?
practice squad. My God.
The Yellow Stock and Bloom.
What? Just referencing the producers. All right. The Chargers go to the Cleveland Browns. They're 1.5-point favorites, the Chargers, and the over-under is 42.5.
I think the Chargers need this one bad, so I'm going to take the Chargers in this one. And I'm telling you, this is the Jameis come back down to earth game. This happens every time. He's going to have more interceptions than he's going to have touchdowns, and those interceptions are going to prove costly. And I think Justin Herbert is getting more confident again. Justin Herbert's looking good. So give me the Chargers to win it. What's the over-under again?
42.5.
42.5. Feels like it's too little to take the under, so give me the over.
Alrighty.
Actually,
I'm taking the under.
Pick, but you know what? I'll take the over anyway.
I'm taking the under, and I agree with you. I would not be the least bit surprised if Jameis Winston does throw more interceptions than touchdowns. However, I still see the Browns winning this game, so I'm taking the Browns to win. Then we got the Miami Dolphins going to the Buffalo Bills. Bills are 6-point favorites, and the over/under is 49.5.
It's really hard to pick against the Bills right now, so I'll lay the points with the Bills. I think they crushed the Dolphins, and give me the under.
I'm gonna go over. I think Dolphins score some points, but the Bills score more. They win this game. Lay the points with the Bills.
Then anytime we get a message from someone new, gotta put it up.
Pat
on the
H.
screen here. Pat H. with a nice debut. Justin Turdbert.
Yeah, Pat H. in the KMBR chat was in the practice squad chat the other night. So we're bringing more people in.
Oh, in the Bialystock and Bloom podcast.
Yeah, exactly. The Denver Broncos go to the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson missed a little bit of practice earlier in the week, but it doesn't matter now. He's off the injury report. The Ravens going to debut Deontay Johnson at wide receiver. They're 9.5-point favorites, and the over/under is 46.5.
Man, Ravens are good, but the Broncos got something cooking. I think the Ravens win, but I think it's going to be a lot closer than 9. I think that's a huge number. And give me the Give me the over. Give me the over.
I'm going to go with the under. I think the Broncos have played well, but I think after the Ravens lost to the Browns, they're going to be a little focused and
True.
score some points on this defense. So I got the Ravens winning this game, and I'm going to lay the points. Then we got the Dallas Cowboys going to the Atlanta Falcons, where the Falcons are 3.5-point favorites, and the over-under is 51.5.
God, man, that's a massive number, ain't it? You go first in this one.
I'm going to take the Cowboys. I'm going to take the Cowboys. They need this one. I don't think they played particularly bad, but they just played better teams. And I don't know if the Cowboys are better than the Falcons, but I think for this game, they need it more than the Falcons do, so I'm going to take the Cowboys.
I think the Cowboys are going
I'm going to go under, by the way, too. That 51.5 is too much for me.
I think the Cowboys, well, with Micah Parsons and Deron Bland ruled out, and then everything that happened this week, all the negative attention surrounding them with this whole podcast with Trayvon Diggs and Parsons, where they didn't list Dak in their top 5 quarterback list or whatever, top 10 quarterback list. I think all that's going against them. I think they are crumbling. So give me the Falcons to win. I'll lay the points. Give me the under.
Did you see that Trayvon Diggs got at the reporter and said CD's nuts?
Yeah, and then he apologized. It was a pretty
and
nice
they broke
story.
bread over nuts.
Yes, they did. D's
was
nuts.
nice.
Although, did you hear the flavors?
Banana pudding?
Banana pudding. What the hell is banana pudding nuts?
That sounds awful. Yeah.
Nuts with a little bit of nana?
Whatever happened to the good old days of hot nuts? Remember that, John Lund? Hot nuts. Everyone here wanna buy my nuts. Selling nuts. Hot
COVID.
nuts.
COVID happened.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Everyone was done with hot nuts after COVID.
Okay. Chicago Bears taking on the Arizona Cardinals. I could have this wrong. Are the Bears favorite or the Cardinals favorite? I have the
Cardinals are.
Cardinals. Cardinals are favorite. Okay.
Cardinals are, yeah.
Okay, favored by 2, and the over/under is 44.5.
And that line's even moved from what I'm looking at to even -1.5 for the Cardinals. So maybe the money was coming in on the Bears there. But I think the Bears defense is actually pretty good. And I think the Arizona defense is susceptible. And I think, if the Bears play a crappy defense, they could do something. So, you know what? I'll take the Bears in this one to win. And because these are two really good offenses, the Bears defense isn't actually that bad, but I'll take the over.
I'm going to go with the Arizona Cardinals here. I think they got something going. I think that the defense is not great, but they can do things to confuse Caleb Williams. So I got them winning this game. I'm going to lay the points with them, and I'll go over on the 44.5.
When Kyler Murray's locked in, he's damn near unstoppable. So I could see it playing out either way.
Then we got the Jacksonville Jaguars going to Philadelphia. Doug Peterson coming back to the place that he won a Super Bowl. The Philadelphia Eagles, wearing their old Kelly Greens, by the way, are 7.5-point favorites, and the over/under is 45.5.
The only reason I'm going to do this is because of the weirdness of the trade deadline and the fact that the Jaguars are meant to blow it all up. I will take the Jags to cover that 7.5. That's 7.5, right?
Yep.
I'll take the Jags to cover that and give me the under. I think this could be a close game where the Eagles get the win.
I think this is a game where you might think Doug Peterson gets fired afterwards, and that would just be like, sticking the knife in. You're going back home to the place that fired you after winning a Super Bowl, and yeah, you come out of there looking bad. I think the Eagles they're looking really good right now. Going into Cincinnati, kicking their ass, and then I know the Giants suck, but the performance they had, something's turning with the Eagles right now, and it might be more the defenses come into play, and as you said, Kellen Moore is figuring out how to use Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts in the right ways. So I got the Eagles winning. I'm laying the points, and I'm going over on that 45.5.
Oh, nice.
And we got the Rams going to Seattle. Wide receivers might be out in this game. One for sure, DK Metcalf is out. Puka Nacua, not serious, but did tweak his knee in practice the other day, so he may be out. But the Rams basically in a pick 'em, favored by 1, and the over/under is 48.5.
God, with the way they looked against the Vikings, I think I'm going to take the Rams in this one, even if they get a hobbled Puka Nacua, and I'll take the over.
I'm taking the Rams as well, but I'll go under on that 48.5. And then we got the game of the week with Tom Brady. The Lions going to the Green Bay Packers. Jordan Love, it sounds like, is going to start in this game. Recovered from the groin injury. So the Lions are favored by 3, and the over-under is 47.5.
The only reason I'm going to give the Lions the favor here is because the center for the Packers is doubtful. And whenever your center's out, it just throws a wrench into everything. So I will, and the Lions are just red hot. So I know, well, they're some of the best teams in the NFC right now, but I will lay the points with the Lions, and I do think it's going to be a shootout. So give me the over.
I think it's going to be a very low-scoring game. I think that while Jordan Love is back, I don't think they're going to go too crazy with the passing offense. I think they want to minimize how many offensive opportunities the Lions are going to have here. So they're going to run the ball a lot with Josh Jacobs, even though he's questionable, but they need him for this game. He probably will play. I'm taking the Packers. I'm laying the points, and I'm going under on that 47.5. Actually, I can't lay the points because they're not the favorite, so I'm just taking the Packers.
There you go.
Then we got the Sunday night game. This is a weird one for Sunday night. Joe Flacco and the Colts going to Minneapolis to take on the Vikings. The Vikings are 5-point favorites, and the over-under is 46.5.
How can you? I don't know. God, what if Flacco just has a magical game?
I would not be the least bit surprised if he did.
God damn it. You know what? I'll take the Colts to cover that 5.5. Joe Flacco shredding one of the NFL's best defenses.
Shredding a defense.
But I think the Vikings could. I think the Vikings could pull it off though with the win, and I'll take the under.
I got the Vikings on a 10-day bye winning this one. They should beat the Colts. But Joe Flacco, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if he gets some good, passing yardage in this game against that Vikings secondary. So I got the Vikings winning. I'll lay the points, and I'll go over on the 46.5. Finally, the Monday night game, Tampa Bay going to Kansas City. Chiefs are 8.5-point favorites, and the over-under is 45.5.
Tampa Bay getting anyone back for this game?
No. Wide receiver-wise, no.
No wide receiver, then. Yeah,
maybe Antoine Winfield's coming back.
You know what, though? Like, the Chiefs haven't been, amazing on offense, and that's a huge number. So I'll take the Bucks to cover that 8.5.
Okay.
And what's the over/under again?
45.5.
Give me the over. Life's too short to take the under.
All right. I'm going to take the over as well, and I think that the offense for the Chiefs gets going a little bit better in this game. Bucks defense hasn't been very good this season, and I think DeAndre Hopkins brings a new dimension. I think Travis Kelce gets going again. They're going to get healthy really soon here. Isaiah Pacheco at some point, and Hollywood Brown when the playoffs start. Josh Unk now on their defensive line, or what's his name?
Uche.
Josh
Unk. I like that.
Unk, baby. I got the Chiefs winning. I'm laying the points, and I'm going over on that 45.5. So there you go.
Uche. It is Uche.
Okay, Josh Uche. Uche Buche Gali. The Chiefs. I will say this, Steven. They kind of remind me a little bit of the Eagles a year ago. They're undefeated, they're winning, but it doesn't look great. And maybe it's more because we're used to them being an offensive team, but they're winning defensively now.
Yeah, but I don't think you have the inner turmoil that the Eagles were having at that time. So it's a different. I get where you're coming from, but it's very different.
The only inner turmoil I could see with that team is people are loving Andy Reid in these State Farm commercials more than Patrick Mahomes. I'm sorry.
Mahomes gets jealous?
Well, yeah, I'm sorry, but every time I fucking laugh my ass off when it's Andy Reid. Bundle-rooski, 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 bundle-rooski. And it gets really tight on his face. Andy Reid has no shame. He's the only coach that's willing to look like an idiot in commercials.
Agreed.
Yes. All right, you do a little, you want to do Jackass of the Week?
I think there's only one answer to Jackass of the Week.
The Yankee guys?
Yeah. I think there's no one else who's as much of a Jackass of the Week than the Yankees fan in right field who straight grabbed Mookie's glove, pried that ball out. And you know what? I'll strike Major League Baseball as a Jackass of the Week too. I'll cite all of Major League Baseball, namely the people who make the decisions. But how do you not ban that fan step in and say you're not allowed at a baseball game anymore and override the power of the Yankees. Instead, they had to ask the Yankees in a formality and refund them the tickets. That's weak. You can't be touching players like that, pulling his arm. Like, I know it happened in real quick time and this might be overreacting, but what if there was an injury that came about from that play? Like, it encourages fans to do that. And I just don't think it's okay.
They had their money refunded from that game they were kicked out of.
Yeah.
Mm.
Not the game 4, game 5, because they were allowed back for game 5 and then initially, and then the Yankees or the Major League Baseball asked the Yankees to ban them. And then in a statement from the Yankees, they said their tickets will be refunded.
For game 5.
For game 5.
Okay. You know what? Yeah, I mean, for game
week. Come on. Put the foot down.
Okay, hold on. For game I initially thought you were saying for game 4, the game that they attended already.
No.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you should give them their money back, but they should not be allowed to go to that game, and I don't think that they should be allowed to go to any games next season.
But at least you got the refund. I don't know. I just you're grabbing.
Yeah, but they never attended the game, Steven. They should get their money back.
Really?
The punishment is the banishment,
right?
In my opinion. I think they should be able to have you can't just take people's money away because you're mad at them. I do think at the end of the day they should get their money back for game 5.
Although kudos to the Yankees. I think they brought someone diagnosed with cancer to the game and got tickets for them. So good on them for doing the right thing there. But I just think Major League Baseball should have come down harder on those two fans.
Yeah, I mean, the NBA, definitely didn't waste any time by banishing that young kid from the Celtics arena, or I think any NBA arena for life.
Yeah.
And some people might question if that was, it's in Boston, it's Kyrie. Some people might think that that was, racially charged. I don't know. But I think this is worse than that. I think they attacked Mookie in a way. And I don't see how you can allow those guys to be like, and the fucking arrogance too. The fucking arrogance of like the Jesse Rogers interview they did with him, where he's like, "Oh, that's my wall. I have to protect my wall. When you coming up into my territory, I got to protect it." And then he does like Barstool Sports interview. Fuck these guys. They're definitely jackasses of the week.
Yeah. How about I'm not going to call him a jackass of the week for this, but did you see Jimmy Fallon with the Costco guys on there earlier?
You brought that up last podcast.
Boomer Doom.
Yeah.
No, they were gonna appear that night, but then the next morning we got the appearance on Thursday morning. They didn't go on the show before the pod. They went on after the pod.
I thought you said you talked as if like they already saw the interview.
No. I was reading a tweet that said they're going to be on Jimmy Fallon tonight.
I'm sorry. Are we talking about the same people, the Rizzler and the?
Yeah.
No, you talked about it though, where they were like, "We bring the boom," and Jimmy Fallon was like, "Yeah, the boom. Yeah, we get it."
Really? That
happened? Yeah, you brought that up already.
Oh,
I think you're losing your mind, Steven.
I think so.
Little pop culture catch up.
Boom.
I don't even know what the hell those things are, to be honest. I haven't seen one.
It is.
I know what they look like, but yeah.
Dude, it's the weirdest thing. They basically rate a chicken bake at a double chunk chocolate cookie.
That's our society. That's our society.
I'm also offended that they don't go with the pizza. It's like, why do you have to choose the chicken bake or the double chunk chocolate cookie?
Steven,
slice of pizza and the hot dog are staples of the Costco food court.
You're getting fooled into their game now. Don't you see? Now you're like, yeah, they want you to feel that way. You're no matter how stupid you think this thing is, you're getting sucked in by questioning why they're not buying a fucking Costco pizza.
I also bought tickets to the guy's wrestling match, but that's neither here nor there.
What?
The main Costco guy's a professional wrestler, or trying to be a professional wrestler. He used to be, and now he's getting back into it.
Why are you into this thing so much?
I'm just kidding. I didn't buy tickets to the wrestling match, but I saw it.
Okay, I was about to say you're jackass of the week for that.
The poster popped up on my social media timeline, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is real!" So it's Big Justice and AJ versus someone else. I don't know who.
Are they a family?
The Rizzler's not.
Just some kid.
Yeah, just solo dolo. Just some Chubby kid who does a thing. I don't get it.
All right. Well,
They're Costco guys. Of course we shop with the chicken bake.
so what's their deal? They're at Costco and they scream, "We bring the boom."
No, they their new thing is bringing on other social media influencers, and then
Like Hawk
Hawk Tua, and then you have them rate the chicken bake or the double chocolate cookie. Dude, there's a whole behind the scenes video that popped up, and I watched it, all of it. It is hilarious because the dad is like has that smile on his face, but then like his son, Big Justice, stumbles over some of the words. He's like, no,
Big Justice.
Big Justice. This isn't what justice. This isn't what you do. No, you got to say this. You got to say chicken bake, double chunk chocolate cookie, and then we dive into it. It's like he's a director. It's hilarious.
Wow. I don't know what's more sad, that thing existing or you watching it.
Yeah, I can't argue with that.
All right, pop culture catch up. Been watching The Penguin. Watching The Penguin, and it's not terrible. It's good, but I'm not buying Colin Farrell just basically doing like a half-assed, yeah, you want to come in and take my fucking territory here? He sounds like a guy doing a voice. It, like, when we're doing mobster stuff, can we have like actual Italian people playing the mobsters? I'm sorry, like whenever like you have a non-Italian guy doing a voice, it sounds awful. So Colin Farrell as an Irish guy doing like just doesn't sound good to me. Like I thought, who's my guy? Who's the dude that played the Joker in Suicide Squad?
Jared Leto.
Jared Leto in that fucking Gucci movie where he was like, oh, Mamma Mia. It's like, Jesus, you guys are terrible. Like James Gandolfini as Tony Soprano did not sound like that in real life. He didn't talk like, Christopher, AJ, Janice. He didn't talk like that in real life. But you could buy the voice because he's from New Jersey and he has a little bit of a New York accent. These guys just sound fucking terrible. So The Penguin's not a poorly made show, but I can't buy Colin Farrell as the Penguin or like a mobster or anything like that.
I'd much rather have the Danny DeVito version of the Penguin in that show.
Yes.
Creepy. He's actually a penguin, sort of, raised by penguins.
Let my nose be dripping with blood if that ever happened to me. And then he like bites the guy's nose off.
Mm-hmm.
And he's
I'd rather watch a show with that penguin.
Yes. And he's all horny for Catwoman. Oh, yeah. You tease.
All time.
Instead, we get Danny DeVito all swole on these Jersey Mike commercials.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Okay. Last time we were on, I was talking about a movie that's coming out that caught my eye that is interesting and unique, but very weird. So, before you left for vacation, Steven, you retweeted something, I think, from Discussing Film.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, this is the first look of Robbie Williams' biopic, where it's going to be about his life, except he's played by a monkey. And I was like, what? What the hell is that?
Yeah.
Yes. So my first reaction was, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Second reaction was, Robbie Williams? Who the hell's that?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Robbie Williams, rock DJ Robbie Williams from the early 2000s. If you were a kid that watched MTV a lot, you didn't know who Robbie Williams was if you're an American. But if you saw that music video, it was genius and one of my favorite music videos of all time. It's basically Robbie Williams. The song plays. He's, propelled up for like this roller disco. He's trying to get the attention of all these beautiful women around him. He's dancing. He's taking off his clothes. None of them give him the time of day. And then he rips off his skin. And he's just a bloody mess. And it's hilarious. It's gross. It was kind of controversial at the time. But I thought it was just an amazing music video. And the song's not bad either. But besides that, and maybe like Millennium, another like poppy song from the early 2000s, I didn't know who the hell Robbie Williams was. So, Steven, you have, British family.
Yeah.
How big is Robbie Williams in the UK that he has his own movie?
He's massive.
Yeah.
He's massive, and it's pretty. There's a documentary, a docuseries on Netflix about him, literally just called Robbie Williams. He was a pop star since 16. Like literally think of him like Justin Timberlake.
Yeah.
Except he wasn't like the lead guy of the band that he was a part of called Take That. He was more of the third or fourth guy, and then he ended up going solo and had problems with the band because of drug issues. And he was kind of out of control in his 20s. But he never got popular in America because no one really got him. Like, they didn't understand the type of person that he was. They felt that he was contradictory in some of his songs. I highly recommend to anyone out there, listen to the song Angels by Robbie Williams. It's his #1 song. It's amazing. Rock DJ is great. Then you find out through the documentary that music video where he takes off his skin is because he tried to give as much as he could to the public through his music career, and it was never enough.
Yep.
So that's kind of what the music video was representing. And Better Man is another one of his really deep personal songs. That's a good one. Just look up, if you want an idea of how big he is, just go to YouTube and search up Robbie Williams live at Knebworth.
Yeah.
KNEBWORTH. And that's part of the trailer, actually. He was massive. So yeah. And also he has one of the greatest opening songs ever. Like, nothing's going to top AC/DC Thunderstruck. It's what they open with at every concert. There's nothing that's going to top that for me. But he has a song, Let Me Entertain You.
Yeah.
That he opens with every concert, and it is a banger. So
Have you seen him live?
No.
Okay.
No.
So yeah, I did my research after the fact because I saw the trailer for this movie, Better Man, and I was like, this is insane, but very original, and I love the idea. It's basically, I saw an interview with the director, Michael Gracie, who did Greatest Showman, and he was like, instead of just doing like a biopic that we've seen a million times, why don't we do it where you are, an animal, where we see you how you see yourself? And I think it's very original and different and weird. So I looked up Robbie Williams. I never heard the song "Let Me Entertain You," but that's actually a very good song. I Angels and those songs are kind of a little too sappy for me.
And through it, oh
yeah. But I looked up like his past with drug issues, and yeah, he's huge in the UK. I wasn't aware of all that. I saw the concert you're referring to a little bit. Yeah, he's a good entertainer, and he's kind of like in the same vein as like George Michael or any of those guys.
right.
But yeah, he never. This is why I don't know if this movie is going to be received well in America, because not many people know who this guy is, and that's a gigantic risk. Because when you're like, this Christmas, you're up against like a Bob Dylan biopic. It's gonna be interesting. All right, Steven's telling me to wrap it up.
I gotta get going, or else
Okay.
the mechanic closes at 2. Gotta pick up Jesse's
Okay,
car.
all right.
All
right, we'll wrap it up
real
there.
quick thing.
Oh, by all means. Okay, we're wrapping it up.
Watch Robbie Williams on Graham Norton telling his story about a castle.
Okay,
I'll send you the link.
I saw him in an interview where he talked about how Elton John got him clean. I saw that.
There's that. That's a deeper one, but this one is just funny. He's a hilarious guy.
No, I like that he doesn't take himself too seriously. So this concept with the monkey movie is very interesting. Mm-hmm. All right, that's it for us. Just your opinion, man. Everybody, come through tomorrow. We're going to be at Massier's in Walnut Creek. Me and Steven, 10 a.m. All the Opiners, come on through. We'll have a good time watching football. We'll see you guys on Tuesday to react to the NFL trade deadline in Week 9. Steven, say what you always say on this fine program.
It's just our opinion, man. That was an English accent. That was terrible. I need to do that again. Just our opinion, man. It's just our opinion.